Hi, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Let's Talk About Market episode number 81. There was a huge volatility today, and if we see, there has been a sharp reversal after finding support somewhere around 25,500. Now, was that expected? We'll talk about that, and what's the road ahead? We'll talk about that. But there were some critical, there were some important indicators in the short term that were pointing out that a bounce was due, and I think that has happened. But what do we expect next? That is what we'll discuss. So let me quickly share my screen, and if someone can please confirm if you all are able to see my screen properly, and more importantly, if you all are able to hear me. If you can just put it in the chat box, it will be helpful. I can get started. Okay, thanks for the confirmation. So, if we see the Nifty index, today it made a low of somewhere around 25,473. If we see in the futures market, okay, if we see the Nifty future, it had made a low of somewhere around 25,573, right? So there was a 100 point premium at the low. And if you notice, I think there are few points that I want to talk about today. First thing, I had mentioned that 25,500 holds an important support level because that is where the highest put base was. Okay, you can see over here. So that was the case. In fact, after 25,500, 25,000 directly was the level on the downside. So somewhere over here, the Nifty index did find the support and the Nifty index bounced back. Apart from that, so I'm just trying to tell you what are the things that we had discussed in Friday's session and what played out. So other thing that was important to note was the Nifty PCR. I think that had fallen all the way to 0.63, right? And if you just zoom out the data, and you will see it was one of the lowest reading uh, since 2025, I think December 2024. So over there also, this was indicating that within a day or two there will be some pullback, that is likely, because the PCR had hit the lower end of the range. Apart from that, if we see the sentiment indicators and within that the proprietary daily swing, that during the day had gone to almost around 5 or 6 levels, and from there it has seen a very sharp reversal. I mean, it has bounced back to 17. Now, there was a lot of news of I mean, US delegates saying that the talks are on and so on. But somewhere over here we knew that a bounce should come. I mean, in the morning there was a huge, I mean, there was a lot of panic. But if you would have followed this swing indicator, you would know that somewhere over here a pullback is likely, because the daily swing had gone to such lower levels, right? So now this pullback is done, that has happened. uh, what to expect next? So one thing is that, wait, let me just check the Nifty chart. So yes, so as I was saying that a pullback was due somewhere over here, that has happened. Now please understand what has happened. So the Nifty index has broken this trend line support, and with this trend line support, multiple important levels were broken, like the averages, daily RMI went into sell, and so on, right? So now the least that you can at least expect is a pullback. Okay. Now the question will be that, have we made a bigger bottom over here, and are we going to rise, or are we going to fall? So the clue for that will be what happens around this daily averages and the trend line area, because this was the decline that the Nifty index has seen. Now we are seeing a pullback. Now in this pullback, ideally, if the Nifty index has to fall more, so there will be multiple levels. I have not seen actually where the Fibonacci retracement level is. So if I see this 26,029, okay, this is the level on the Nifty index, which is like very, very important resistance level. And now if you try to, connect all the dots, basically in this option open interest, you have a highest open interest around the 26,000 mark, right? If I do the combined one, 26,000 mark has the highest open interest. And so yeah, I mean, in this pullback, 26,000 can act as a very strong resistance level. So this is on the future level, I mean, based on the future price. So so somewhere, if this future, I mean, the Nifty future, if it goes around 26,000, it is likely to face hurdle. And because there is a 100-point premium approx, so it would mean that, somewhere, you would say that, somewhere around 25,900 or so is where the Nifty can find resistance on the Nifty, I mean, spot chart. And if you see, the trend line retest level, that is also say somewhere around 25,950 or so, and that's where the averages and all are. So broadly, 25,919, that is nothing but the 50% retracement. So this zone that I'm circling, okay, this is a area where there are maximum resistance that are arising, in case the Nifty index bounces back. So this will be the zone to watch out for broadly. If the Nifty index fails to break this resistance zone on the upside, then it's a very high, I mean, there is a good chance that, Nifty index may go down after retesting the trend line. Okay. However, if this resistance zone is broken decisively on the upside, then we can have a meaningful bottom, or you can say a medium term bottom over here. Now, why I am telling you this is because in Friday's trading session, okay, as you all know that we always adjust the market positioning, market participant data. So earlier the lot size was 65, then it has come to 60. I mean, last time the lot size was 75, now it has gone to 65. So the entire past data has been adjusted accordingly. And when you see the adjusted data, you will realize that the Nifty index has seen a record shorting by the FIs. Okay, so this is now officially the highest short reading in the history of what we have, based on the FIs positioning. And if you see the long percentage, that has gone to 7.53. Okay. And one more factor which I forgot to tell you, that also was indicating of a bounce, was this call minus put histogram. Okay, this call minus put histogram, whenever it crosses 5 lakh, 5 lakh, contract. So this is of course in crores. So then, within a day or two, a pullback is likely. So you can see over here was, so you can see over here. So these are all indication of just a short term pullback. And we saw a pullback over here, right? Over here, in a day or two, the Nifty index bottomed out and it rallied. Okay. Then over here, you ended up seeing similar lows, and then within 2-3 days, there was a pullback. In Friday's trading session, you saw this reading highest, and this resulted into pullback. So the indications were there of a pullback. Now, if you'll recall, I was saying that for a meaningful pullback to happen, I mean, for a meaningful bottom to happen, you would want all the short term indicators to be in the oversold zone, which means that you would want this percentage of stock about 20 SMA to go to those lower levels. You would want percentage of stock with RMI buy to go towards the lower level. And then you have this swing, average swing, call minus put, all of this, if they go to the oversold zone, then you can be very, very, very confident of meaningful bottom, not just a day or two pullback, but a meaningful bottom. So we are not over there right now, and that is why, I am not guessing. I mean, I can't think of this as a major bottom as of now. But like I told you, I mean, FI's positioning is at an extreme. So if in the coming days, if the Nifty index does manage to break this resistance zone decisively, then I would think that a major bottom has, I mean, has possibly formed. Also, one of the concerns that I was highlighting for quite some time was the India VIX, right? And if you see now, in the past few days, the India VIX has risen and the Nifty index has fallen. So India VIX, in my view, has a room to go on the upside till somewhere around 13-14 levels. Okay. I think if 13-14 level comes and you have all those indicators towards this oversold zone, then I would be very confident that somewhere over here a bottom has to occur from a short term perspective, and then we would wait for those confirmations to call it a medium term bottom as well. Okay, so that is why, as I told you, in the short term, the expectation is that probably in the next 2 to 3 days we might end up getting a pullback that can be towards this zone of 25,919 to 26,026. That is their 50 and 61.8% retracement level. And I think once these levels are tested, there we have to be very, very alert, and we have to see if there is a, further more decline that is there on the cards or no. Okay. So that's how I am thinking about the Nifty index as of now. Uh, the sectors, if you see, I think metal index, I had mentioned to you all that so if you see the chart of metal index, so this was the breakout zone. I think as long as it is trading above this 40-day exponential average, the medium to longer term trend looks very positive. I think if it breaks below this, okay, this 40-day exponential average, then frankly I'll be a little worried about metal index. But other than that, it looks all good. Similarly, PSU banks, it has been holding above the averages pretty well. That looks a decent. I mean, this is one more relatively stronger sector as well. If you see auto also, it has tried to turn around from the 40-day. So need to see what it does over here. But again, it has important. I mean, it has turned around from an important support level. And in fact, there is this long-legged doji also that we have. So this also makes it an interesting sector. Pharma, this range breakout had happened and it had gone down. So, usually when those breakout doesn't fructify into, a follow-up buying, it is always a bit dangerous. So need to see what it does over here. But apart from that, you have many other sectors. I think IT also reported. IT was a mixed bag so far. If you see the IT index, it has been holding above this 40-day exponential average. Whether it does manage to hold and bounce back from here, we need to see. But as of now, the clear cut outperformers that are looking like are metals and PSU bank. Apart from that, more or less, things have given up. I mean, even in infra, if you see, we had discussed about this. There was a case of a breakout happening, but again, it did not sustain and it went down. So not very sure on that, what it does. But PSU bank and metal, seems to be the clear cut outperformers. And if you see today also, when the markets were falling, PSU bank did well, metals did well, and this is what you kind of expect out of the outperformers, right? That they, when the index falls, they will fall less, and when the index rises higher, they will rise more. So that's why, that is the most important thing. The traders at least need to keep in mind, because they want, I mean, you should be chasing strong momentum stocks. And that is where, I mean, if you have this holistic view of what the sectors are doing, to some extent, you can find out outperformers, much more quickly. Okay, in that sense. So yeah, I think that is what I actually wanted to discuss today. If you'll have questions, I'm happy to address it. but make sure to watch the sentiment and the diffusion indicator closely. I think that is what is going to give you a clue of where the bottom can occur. As of now, once again, I'm repeating that in the short term, not all indicators are in oversold zone. They are somewhere in the middle. This leaves some room on the downside in the near term. And I mean, given that market doesn't fall one way, right? So there will be some pullbacks from time to time. And if we are seeing this pullback fructify, then somewhere around 25,900 to 26,000, 26 will be important resistance level. And if the Nifty index you know resist over here, then there is a risk that you can see one more decline towards the lower end. So this is what I am thinking at this point of time. I mean, if you all have any observations or anything, please do shoot it. I'll be happy to think over it, and the evidence that you all provide. So Beeble says metal bounced well, but do you think a bottom is in place? Addition to it, energy sector like Torrent Power, JSW Energy doing well. Uh, so Bulls, as I mentioned, I think I addressed this. I don't know if you had posted this before or after, but yes, metal index. See, I am not sure whether it will go till year and will it bottom out and then rise higher. I don't know about that, but as I told you, I mean, as long as the 40-day holds, I think the larger trend is bullish. In which case, the dips will be an accumulating opportunity. I will sort of ignore the RMI because when the trending move starts, like you see over here, the RMI was in sell, but the important characteristics is that the 20-day does not break. It keeps rising higher, taking support at the 20-day. Okay. So if you want a very tight reversal level, then 20 days is a very tight reversal level. And if you want a reasonable reversal level from a positional perspective, then 40-day holds true. I think as long as that holds, it is good. Now, you're talking about energy sector. Frankly, it's a mixed bag. Okay. And in most of the cases, they haven't started trending well on the daily chart. But so this is not a recommendation, but you spoke about Torrent Power, right? The beauty of Torrent Power is that if you see the monthly chart, you know it has a nice setup where the lower bands and the 40 is at same level. Now the risk over here also remains that can it do something like this, form a ending or a falling wedge pattern and then only turn around. I don't know. For if you want to be a lot more sure of a bottom, you would ideally want prices to close above the 20-month. If that happens, by then you might also end up getting a bullish crossover, and that will be the sign that a bottom has been formed, and it would be looking up for higher levels. In this case, in JSW Energy, again a similar pattern that we have. So let me just so if you So all these are actually looking good from a monthly chart perspective. Okay, because over here you can see that for JSW Energy it has tested the 40-month average and now it is trying to turn around. So in all the power stocks, if you see the monthly charts are good, which is telling you that the long-term trend is good. The problem is with the short-term and the medium-term this thing. So even if you see JSW Energy, it is not. I mean, it is failing somewhere around this 40 week, right? So it needs to break and sustain above 40 week. There is already a bullish crossover that we have, but if it breaks and sustains above it, then I mean, see, you will have to come up with the levels, and at some point of time when this trend line breaks on the upside decisively, I think that's where it will even lead to a bullish crossover in RMI as well, because you might see the monthly also moving higher and so on. So that's where you will have to take a call. As of now, the risk is that can this further translate into a bigger triangle? I don't know. I mean, can it be can it behave, something like this? It is very much possible, and only then rise higher. So that is the risk that we have right now. But as I told you, from monthly chart, it looks like they're turning around from important levels, and that is true for almost all the power stocks. So you need to take a call accordingly. Hmm. Ajay, Ajay says that mutual related strike पे कोई feature available. Do you mean mutual fund, Ajay? Sorry, I did not understand your question. If you can just put it again. Uh, so Priyansh, I don't want to get into stock specific, but I mean, since he was asking more on the the overall sector, that's why I took that as an example to explain. But yeah, so no, Ajay ji, there is no mutual fund related data as of now. I mean, not in our near term priorities. Maybe later on we can think of. As of now, we have not thought about it. Any other questions you all have? Which Any other questions? I think I'll wait for a couple of minutes. I mean, I'll wait for a minute. If there are no further questions, then we can wind up the session for today. But I think I've tried to clearly communicate. So Ajay Kale, I think I have mentioned this many times. This we had built it when I mean RMI we had built it on TradingView before Strike. Now that we have Strike, I mean this is the source that is available. If you all want RMI on TradingView, you can contact the sales people. It's a one-time charge where you get a lifetime access. So yeah, I mean, you will have to talk to them. They will help you out with this. But we are charging one time for RMI basically, and you can get that on the Trading View. Any other questions you'll have? Please shoot it. And I think I can't see any more questions. So let's wrap it up for today, and let's catch up tomorrow. And the main highlight is that in the near term, a pullback can happen, which can further stretch, I think, 100, 200 points. But after that, there is a risk of a correction. Uh, Mandar says, can we know which stocks FIs, DIs are buying? Uh, so no, as of now, no. And all this data, Mandar, is actually released monthly, especially for mutual fund. And otherwise, in scanners, we are anyways planning to bring, where is it that the FIs have increased the stake and so on. But anyways, these data are not available daily. At the max, what we can do is that we can show on the monthly side for the mutual fund data, which is what we have sort of prepared also. But there are too many things that we are working on right now, so we want to get those things live one by one. In fact, there are some pushes that, I mean, there are some new features that we are going to deploy today. That is what I have been told. So yeah, I mean, in the next few weeks you will see a lot of things going live in terms of features, so do watch out for that. But yeah, Mandar, to your point, in the scanners we will bring, but on a live basis you cannot know. I mean, there is no way to know it because the exchange also does not disclose all these data points. Okay, so how do we get to know updates? So yeah, I mean, see, basically we'll try to uh, put it in this live show as well, and also on Twitter and so on, that we have gone live with these things. So that's how you'll come to know. And of course, when I'm doing this live show, I will be telling that these are the new features that with which we have gone live. So that's how y'all will get to know. Okay, so I think that's it from my side. Let's catch up tomorrow. Okay, there is one more question. In Futures tab, how to read short built up and long built up OI analysis as. Uh, Wait, let me. In Future tab, how to read short built up and long built up OI analysis as last 4 days percentage is in green. No, so it is not necessary that everything will be green. I mean, some will be red and some will be green. So, see, I have told this earlier as well that you need to. So over here, if you see, you need to. This will give you an idea what is happening today. But we have given the historical charts over here. So you will have to click on the chart and understand what is happening over there. Okay, and what the data is telling you. But looking just at 1 day data doesn't make any sense. It just gives you a filtration. Like, say for example, okay, Havels has given a 10% OI built up. So what is happening over there? That is the sort of scanning that can happen for you. But you will have to go into the charts and understand what is happening based on the past OI, and make an interpretation whether it is short or long, and what is the potential path. So yeah. So say for example, if I now take Nifty 50. So, firstly, it does mean that, I mean, in this past 3 or 4 days, as the Nifty has fallen and the open interest has risen higher, so it means that there are some short built up that has been taken place. If you want to see this in bit more detail, click over here on Nifty, just hover and click on this icon. Through this, you will come to know that, see, there was a huge short build up that had happened on 15th. I mean, on 8th of Jan, that was to the extent of 15%, right? So you would know that where is it that people have gone short meaningfully, right? And that is probably somewhere around this candle where there is a meaningful short build up that has happened. So, and in the next 2 days, we have seen some follow up of that as well. Now, whether this long built up does it, I mean, it is just 2% as of now, so nothing great to talk about. But you can see from the data that the bulls kind of have an upper hand. I mean, the bears kind of have an upper hand because a lot of short has been built, and that is specifically in the last 2 to 3 days. Okay, so for the bears to get scared, somewhere around this candle needs to be broken, because this two candle is where they have shorted the most. So yeah, I mean, that is what will lead to a short covering. Else, as I mentioned, there will be a pullback, and in this pullback, some weak hands will be out of the market. And if it has to resume this downtrend, then ideally the important resistance level will not be broken on the upside, and then it can go down. So yeah, I mean, this is something that you have to be mindful of. No, I did not understand this point. So is short covering in internally managed? I Sorry, I did not get this point. Okay. Okay. I guess your doubt is cleared. Hmm. Fine. So I think it's 5:30. So yeah, we'll wind up the session for today, and let's catch up tomorrow, same time at 5 p.m. Okay. Thank you for joining.